I put myself in play. I made a great decision by being a good, loyal employee who performed. I built a personal relationship with the business owner, and I became that business owner's exit strategy. So you literally now are the owner of a business. You didn't have to come out of pocket and raise millions of dollars. You didn't have to go to your friends and family and beg for money. You didn't have to go to the bank and ask for a big credit line. You literally sat down with the business owner and said, I'll be your exit strategy.
Not only did I get in there with no money down, he gave me operating capital to operate off of, and it was included in the purchase price. So we acquired the company, or I did, for $2.5 million on a 20-year note at a fixed rate, which was typically better than most bank rates at that time. No money down with operating capital.
And how large was this business when you took it over and bought it from the exiting business owner?
He had been in business doing construction for 6 years. His highest revenue year was $15 million to date.
A $15 million business, and you were able to acquire it on a long-term note, no money down, with working capital, all because he trusted you and you were dependable.
Yes, sir. That's it.
So you mean it doesn't take a whole lot of money? It doesn't take big bank lines of credits to own a business?
There was no credit check. There was nothing necessary to purchase the business.
And so we've been working together now, and what do you think your business will do this year?
Just shy of $25 million this year.
$25 million. Bigger than the business owner you bought it from has ever done. How much more money do you make than he ever made?
Probably double.
Double. So you bought an existing business that had been as large as $15 million. You bought it with no money down. You got it with working capital. And you got it on a long-term note that all you have to do is pay your note off over the next 30 years. And you've taken it and grown it to $25 million.
That's it. And we're going to do 40 next year.
Because you're working with us. Now you're serious. You're like, man, I put myself in play. I made a great decision by being a good, loyal employee who performed. I built a personal relationship with the business owner, and I became that business owner's exit strategy. And I didn't have to come up with anything because he trusted me.
Right.
And you get to provide him income. So how long had you and the business owner talked about you being that exit strategy before it actually happened?
I knew going into that company and knew ultimately I wanted to own my own business. So I was transparent with him, letting him know that that was my future goal at some point. 2 years go down the road, and I'm just still in my same position. So began the conversation, and it was 8 to 12 months of working on it and actually put it in play at the end of a fiscal year.
And how good does he feel that you're doing so well?
He feels great because we didn't restructure the logo, so I actually kept his name involved in the logo to keep his reputation that he had created. So that gave him more trust in me, knowing I'm using his name.
It's a compliment. I mean, I have Cardone Ventures on my shirt.
Right.
And it is a higher, and I know this about you because you're such a good dude, that sometimes when you're sitting there thinking about making decisions, you ask yourself, how's that going to represent the brand? Because it's actually better to have a higher intentionality than yourself, because when you're thinking about things, you have to think about, like, what would people say? And the last thing you or I would ever want to do with the brand that we represent is degrade it or devalue it or embarrass it.
Right.
A lot of you business owners, you want to have your name on everything, or you young but up-and-coming future potential business owners, you're like, I'm going to put my name on it. Well, that's ego. I don't give a shit. I've started 5 companies. Not one company that I founded or co-founded ever had my name on it. Because, see, I understand if you build something that's big, it should be bigger than you. And something that already has a legacy or it already has a brand, why would you change it? Make it bigger, make it better, improve it.
To this day, we're going on nearly 2 years of me being 100% ownership. Some people still have no idea that I'm actually the owner of the company, because we kept everything the same, just slowly scaled the company. But as far as the reputation, nothing has stepped back. We're actually more transparent and more effective than we ever were before.
I did a podcast on being underestimated. I love being underestimated. I have people that refer to me. I go out and meet people, and they're like, oh, you're Grant Cardone's guy. I'm like, Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, you work for Grant Cardone. Absolutely. I don't go, no, I'm his partner. He and I are equal part. I'm like, yep, I work for Grant. Yep, that's right. I'll go pick him up in my car if I need to.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Or I wouldn't say it, but sometimes I think I should say, I'll send my airplane over to get him.
I have those conversations. People will talk to me for over an hour. When can we talk to Chris? He's the owner. We want to meet him. And they have no idea. They just discussed their project for over an hour with me, and I'm the end of the line for them. And they had no idea. And I don't mind it. I actually kind of like it.
Well, you get to see how they're posturing or positioning.
It's really funny when I have I've got guys fly in from out of state, investors, to meet me, and they walk in the door and there's a 26-year-old kid that they're looking at, and they're double my age. But by the end of our meeting, they're 100% confident that I'm going to do exactly what I say and be as effective as they thought the previous owner was going to be. So can't ask for much more.
No, 100%. So 26 years old, you've got what's going to be a $25 million business this year. I mean, first of all, just congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
Because I was 26 when I started my first business. I know how you're so many cycles ahead of most people that become founders or business owners. If you think of cycles being every 8 years, so your first cycle is going to school, or being raised, and then second cycle is going to school. Then you go to junior high. Then you go another cycle, high school. Then you go to college as a cycle. Then you go to work and get a job as a cycle. Then you meet somebody and you get married. That's a cycle. Then you're like 10 cycles in before you're like, okay, I'm ready to actually do something, right? So when you think about 26, you're like 4 cycles or 5 cycles in, but you've pulled 5 cycles forward.
Right.
And when you think about the opportunity for what you get to learn and how you get to be developed, the experiences you get to have, and you're going to have a $25 million business this year, like, do you ever stop and think about that?
I really think I'm behind where I should be. Every day you think that I haven't done enough, and that I'm not where I should be is honestly how I truly feel. Why can't I be doing 50 million at 26?
You and I are so alike. I just had that thought today.
Yeah.
Natalie and I were talking, and I'm like, I'm so freaking frustrated.
Yeah.
And she's like, why? And I said, we're not 500 million right now.
Yeah.
We're good enough to be there. And she's like, well, you just need to work a little harder and smarter. A lot of people think that guys like you and I are insane, or we never have enough, or but the point is when you know that you have the potential and you haven't tapped into that potential, that haunts us more than whatever we're doing right now.
Right.
And people just don't understand because they're comfortable.